But here's the beautiful thing. When it was released, she reached out to me and said, I didn't say so many things I needed to say.
Yeah.
And she said, can I do a follow-up? So we jumped on that day and did a follow-up, and more was revealed. And I was like, oh my God, this is what this show is about.
Yeah.
Like really letting it go, because if you don't release that shame and that secret and those horrible self-sabotage thoughts, they'll follow you. Shh. Welcome to the Secret Life Podcast. Tell me your secret. I'll tell you mine. When I first started my recovery 11 years ago, I struggled through the textbook-like material on the subject. I wanted to make the addiction and the recovery from it accessible and relatable to more people by telling it in an entertaining way. Well, I'm super excited to announce I've released my first book, Secret Life of a Hollywood Sex and Love Addict. If I can help just one person find a solution, or at least realize they're not broken or alone, then writing this has been worth it. You can pick up the book exclusively at Amazon or signed copy at secretlifenovel.com. And the best way to support our podcast is to subscribe and share. If you haven't left a review or rating on Apple Podcasts yet, please do. It'll help more people find our show. And if you want to be a guest, shoot me a note at secretlifepodcast@icloud.com. Enjoy the episode. Welcome to Secret Life Podcast. I'm Brianne Davis-Gantt. Today we're pulling back the curtains of all kinds of human secrets. We'll hear about what people are hiding from themselves or others. You know, those deep, dark secrets you probably want to take to your grave, or those lighter, funnier secrets that are just plain embarrassing. Really, the how, what, when, where, and why of it all. Today, we are actually celebrating our 1 year.
Can you believe that?
No, 1 year wrap up is what I'm calling it. I don't know if he's going to call it that, but that's what I'm calling it. 1 year wrap up. It's really early in the morning. We're both really tired. So we're getting our shit together this morning, right?
Well, I'm hoping so. I'm hoping by the end we have got our shit together.
I don't know, but we wanted to do a 1 year wrap up because this has been such an amazing experience for us. We did the gratitude one at the 6 months, so we want to make this a little different. I thought it would be important to talk about if you learned something from an episode that you didn't realize, or it brought up something in ourselves. But my first question.
Oh,
yeah, I'm going to do a question. You know. My first question for you. You did an episode.
I did an episode.
How was it? Oh. How was it after? He did episode 25, your episode, Mark's episode. So if you want to go on and listen, it's episode 25, Money from Debt to Abundance.
Yeah. It's funny. The money thing has always been an issue for me. And it was something that I never talked about. Like I always had no problem talking about, my sobriety and, being very, vocal about that. But the money thing it was such a shameful thing for me. It's like, I thought I was supposed to have known how to do it. So
manage your money,
manage my money. And so when I finally got into a 12-step program, Debtors Anonymous.
Well, they have to listen to the episode.
Oh, they can't, I can't give them any.
No. You listened to the episode. It's episode 25, but how was it after the episode aired?
Well, I'm leading up to that to say that I'm sharing about this shameful thing.
Yes.
And I thought it was something that was so embarrassing that I was afraid that, what people would judge me, or if it was on social media, if people knew about it. And, and instead of it being, well, first of all, much like when your first article was released in HuffPost, nothing changed in my life. Nobody, there's the world didn't stop. People weren't like, oh my God, I just disconnect from you. I can't believe you don't understand how to save for a ski trip. And so, but it was great because I actually had several people reach out to me about it. I had some really close friends that didn't know that I even had an issue with it, or that there was even anything that existed.
But didn't some people reach out and say, oh my God, me too?
Oh, absolutely. Well, that's what I'm saying. There's some people that I had worked with that were saying to me, they didn't know that was actually a problem. And that's exactly what they've had. They've had those same issues. They've had those problems.
Successful people.
Yeah.
I'm glad you came on and talked about it.
Yeah, me too.
Because I learned stuff in the episode. There was a couple of moments like that. I never knew.
I didn't know that. It's like, that's what it's about, right?
Yeah. So you'll have to listen to it to find out what I didn't know. So it's episode 25. What episode really affected you in a way?
We talked about doing this, and it's like, it feels like, the book Sophie's Choice. It's like,
I know there's 60 episodes. We released 60 episodes.
Yeah, it's 64 total.
64 total, because there were some bonus episodes.
Yeah, some bonus episodes. And so, like, what are my favorite ones? It's like, or ones that like moved me the most. I mean, and honestly, every single episode, there was something in there that moved me. So what was the question?
I said which one, like if you could think of one, like just think of one that was like, oh, I learned something new, or, oh my God, me too. Or I didn't know that has been happening.
Well, I feel like there's,
I'll give him time to think. So I'll do one of mine then.
Okay, go for it.
Okay. So one of mine that really, really struck me, and it was Kristen's episode, episode number 6.
That's what I was going to say.
Oh, you are?
Yeah.
We'll do it together.
That's the only one I think that we have exactly the same.
Yeah, I think that one, first of all, it was the first one where I didn't know. It was an anonymous. So I didn't know her name. I didn't know what she looked like. She's across the country. She reached out to me. It was when I first put out like the ad, reach out if you have a secret. And
it wasn't an ad.
Well, like I said, please reach out to me if you have a secret. Well, it was my ad. I put it out myself.
But it wasn't an ad. You're making it sound like it was an advertisement.
No, it wasn't an advertisement. I just put it on social media.
It's like a post. How about I call it a post? I just want to like people think we put some
It's really early in the morning.
Craigslist. If you got a secret, come talk to me.
We should have done one.
I know.
We didn't. We have so many, so we didn't actually need to do it.
I mean, that was somebody had suggested. I was like, we already have like.
We have 100.
Yeah, exactly.
So Kristen's episode, it was, didn't know her. It wasn't a friend. It wasn't. And when I interviewed her and we talked about her, it's episode number 6, Perfectionism Almost Took My Life. And you have to listen to it. It's such a powerful episode. There were so many moments I was going to cry during the episode. And she took a shotgun and shot herself in the chest. And talking about the moments of like when the bullet went through her, what it felt like and all. And then her thoughts while they were trying to save her life and all that stuff. That was the moment I was like, oh my fucking God, this is bigger than me.
Yeah.
This is bigger than Mark. This is bigger than we ever thought possible.
Yeah.
That was that moment for me. What was it for you?
But for me, because I'm a perfectionist.
Oh yeah. Well, I am a little bit too.
Yeah.
Not as bad as you.
Yeah. But for me, when she was saying that no matter what she was doing was just not enough. Everybody just saw that on the outside, she was killing it. Just like doing all this great stuff. But inside, she felt like no matter what she did, it wasn't enough. And like, that's where like it hit me. It was like, fuck, yes, that's for me. It's like, I'm somebody, and we've been talking about this recently. It's like, I don't know how to have fun. I don't know how to just, relax and do nothing, because for me.
Or have a hobby.
Or hobby. What's that?
Yeah. He was like, hobby. I need a hobby.
Yeah. It's like, how do I, how can I, embrace, being a human being rather than human doing. And that episode was such a huge thing. And it was so early on too. We're just like, oh my gosh.
It literally aired last August.
Yeah. So crazy.
That's
like
crazy.
The first Friday that we
Yeah. Because we released 5 episodes. We thought we were going to do like 2 episodes a week.
Mm-hmm.
There's no way we would have been able to maintain it.
No way.
Because it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
It's a lot of work doing this. And we're doing it for free. Like, we're doing it for fun and for free. This has all been word of mouth. We have not done any advertising or any sponsorships, or really we're just doing it. So yeah, that first week when we released those 5, but it feels like I should be listening to her episode now. Cause I feel like after putting out the book, now I'm like, I can never do enough.
I think it's a good idea to listen to
But I feel like now I'm in that place where I'm like, I feel like I can never do enough or never be perfect enough, or there has to be something else. And I'm feeling that anxiety and that perfectionism. So maybe I have to re-listen to it. Okay, you name one now.
Okay, well, it's funny. It's like one of the bigger ones that again, this goes back to how I can relate to something. Well, there's
Just pick one.
Okay, so
he has a whole list,
I know,
you guys.
I have a whole list. So I would definitely think it was Bo Baker's. We're talking about vanity, perfection, ego, and pride. And that was episode 22.
22, yeah.
And I remember as I was editing it, I was like, Bo and I, man, we're like brothers. Like we have the same like thing. And it's just like, whoa, shit. Like so much of that, sort of that as a man, you don't, people don't talk about it out there. Women talk about their bodies and the comparison and, compare and despair with their bodies or, careers or,
everything. I think society makes women already against each other.
Yeah.
Like we're always in competition.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's talked about like my body's not good enough. I need to look like this. I need to have this. I need to have this makeup, this clothes, make my photos on Instagram look like this, be successful. Yeah. So yeah.
So when I was listening to Bo's, I was just like, wow. I mean, I can, for me, I heard this in a meeting like 30 years ago. What? Like some guy was saying, like he was, he was never happy with his body. Like he was just always feeling like, he was an older guy. He was just like, always worried about, having this perfect body. And he's like, I'll never get it. And I just think that like for so long, like wanting to have 6-pack abs, like it was in, like this sort of culture, like this is what
I've never had 6-pack abs either at my skinniest. Like my body will not make an ab.
Yeah.
Like, there we go. Yeah. Him and I have never had a 6-pack ab.
No.
16 and a half years, neither of us has had a 6-pack ab.
I could get a keg, but I couldn't get like a 6-pack, 8-pack or anything. And so
don't we say, and just here's a secret from us. I have a secret for us for this.
Oh yeah, I'm down.
That we always say we look better dressed than undressed. Like him and I, people like 100%. Look better undressed.
Yeah.
You and I look better dressed.
Yeah. I don't know those people that look better undressed, but maybe.
Oh no, I've seen some like banging bodies where you're like, oh my God, I didn't know you had a body like that. Yeah. Oh, like someone at the beach and and you're like, oh my God, their body is like.
Right. Yeah, they go to us. Oh my gosh! So you guys gonna put your clothes back on? And,
please put your wrap back on.
So like for me, look, even just last week, when we were.
Yes, we were. But listen, we owned our shit last week.
We did.
We walked around in bathing suits.
So a couple weeks ago, this is some reveal.
Oh,
a couple weeks ago. We did, we had the pool in the back. We blew up the pool for Davis.
Oh yeah, we put up the little mini dip pool.
Yeah, and so I don't know what I was doing. We were doing something else, and I was looking on the computer, and then next thing I know, it was like, oh, I turned on the Nest camera, and it was on the backyard, and I scrolled through to see him and I in the backyard.
In the pool
with me with my bathing suit. And I literally criticized myself how bad I thought I looked, how fat I was, how I was in the worst shape of my life. And just like this total beat up.
Yeah. It was almost like you were like hitting yourself with your thoughts.
Yeah.
Right. Like in the closet.
Like, because there's like nothing else wrong with my life. Let me find something that I find self-sabotage. And it's like this, like I'm this like disgusting thought of myself. It's just like that lower self that just thinks I'm not good enough, that I'm never going to be good enough, that, and so it was such a dark place that I got to, and that reminded me of, was it Lucas, the body shame one too?
Yeah.
About that. And then
the male body shaming, body dysmorphia. I really loved his episode too. I almost wrote that down because it was like, oh, it's not just women, it's men.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then for last week for us to be, at the pool and be able to like not care and, just say,
okay, my legs are a little jiggly.
Yeah.
Okay. My stomach isn't as flat after having a baby.
Are you talking about you or me?
Well, both of us.
Oh, okay.
That you can say that about yourself. I'm not going to say that about you. But here's the beautiful thing, and I want to get to another episode, but I think the most beautiful thing is after you had that dark moment, it was he wakes up at like 4 a.m, which is crazy. I got up and you told me about it. in the kitchen. And I just was like, can I hug you?
Mhm.
And I just hugged you. And I'm like, oh, like, I thought that was such a beautiful moment between us because it used to be hard for me to see when you were down.
Right.
Because I didn't want to see you're the rock.
Right.
So Mark can't have a bad day. Mark can't be hard on himself, 10 years ago. And instead it was like, oh my God, let me give you a hug.
Yeah, it was a really beautiful moment.
It was a beautiful moment. Oh, good kiss. That was a beautiful moment. I felt it. I felt myself like open up and be like, let me comfort you because don't be mean to Mark.
Yeah. You said, can I give you a hug?
Yeah.
And I said, yeah. It was really beautiful.
Oh, I'm gonna cry. Okay. Too much intimacy. Too much intimacy. Brianne has to change this.
Change the subject. Let's be funny. Let's be humorous.
I had a hard time too trying to find my favorite ones, but I really loved episode 23. I think it's 23. Yeah, the miscarriage one with Jennifer, the guilt and shame, and then relief. Why I loved that episode was because when we first recorded it with her, she was holding on to so much. Like I could feel the interview. I would ask questions and it would be deflected. But here's the beautiful thing. When it was released, she reached out to me and said, I didn't say so many things I needed to say.
Yeah.
And she said, can I do a follow-up? So we jumped on that day and did a follow-up and more was revealed. And I was like, oh my God, this is what this show is about.
Yeah.
Like really letting it go, because if you don't release that shame and that secret and those horrible self-sabotage thoughts, they'll follow you. So we did the follow-up and I got so many people reaching out saying they felt the same way after a miscarriage, a bad relationship, getting out of it. And then the beautiful thing is, 2 weeks later, she reached out again and said, oh my God, my life has changed. Like I didn't realize I was holding on to so much stuff and her life literally changed.
Right. And then she started telling you some things that were going on. And she said, I have never even told anybody this.
Even my therapist.
This stuff. And like that to me was like, oh.
But it was just a moment. It was like all these steps for this person to really step into this new way of being or rebirth.
Right.
We like to say like everybody has a death and a rebirth. And I feel like a lot of people come on the show. Another one that is coming out. There's so many good ones coming out. Like some of my favorites haven't even come out yet. We have ones, a man slut. I think we might do that one next week.
Right.
But like the man slut, rage issues, cutting, growing up in a cult, a high class prostitute, shopaholic, shameless cheating. Somebody talks about how they had no shame cheating with somebody, an affair with a boss for 4 years. And then there's another one that's a BDSM lifestyle, like secrets that are kept. So there's so many good ones. Sexual anorexia too. If I didn't say that one, there's a couple like really good ones talking about sexual anorexia that nobody talks about when you shut down because you emotionally can't connect to another person.
I think you have a couple men that have talked about sexual abuse.
Oh my God. Yeah. I have actually, I think we did like 4 or 5 men that talk about how they were molested, because women usually talk about it. It's like 1 in 3 women are molested and 1 in 6 men.
Yeah. So 1 in 6 men, but you hardly hear about it.
Well, that happened to you.
Yeah.
How old were you?
I think I was 6, 7.
Yeah. He's like, I didn't want to talk about that, Brianne.
Yeah. No. I mean, and that's like something that, people don't talk about, and
especially for men.
Yeah.
So we have so many good episodes, but what's another one of yours? We are literally going to talk forever.
Well, I was going to say is that, leading right into that is, Jim Clemente talking about his, because what was such a powerful thing for me, is that, that was episode 45.
45.
So, and that one is Journey to Being an FBI Agent.
And I recorded that one a long time ago.
Yeah. Yeah. It was one of our first ones that you recorded. But one of the things that I've seen is that, so he had the sexual abuse and then he confronted
the abuser
and got him caught and was able to get him, arrested and tried and found guilty. And,
And it was a priest.
And it was a priest. It was a counselor, Catholic counselor at his camp.
Mm-hmm.
And then he ended up becoming an FBI agent that was profiling predators and, and children and things like that and those kind of stuff. And now he's into, as a writer and as a producer for, his whole thing is to like use Hollywood dollars to help the victims.
Yeah.
And, and that's like always been his thing. And it's just like, so his story for him to be able to like tell that and tell how he had to confront, his
predator.
His predator was just so crazy to me.
Yeah. And that was our biggest episode.
Yeah.
That one like skyrocketed. So if you haven't listened to it, it is so powerful. Yeah. And he's such an amazing storyteller. Yeah. I think I barely talked in that episode.
Yeah,
like
he was like, wow.
What? Like, like making noises, like just listening. But, we had no idea that one would reach so many people and help so many people. And that he's such a great guy too. So I'm so lucky. We've had some really awesome guests. I mean, Olivia Munn came on. She has another episode coming out again. She did another episode. Jana Kramer's Compare and Despair. I asked her, she's a friend because I have a really hard time with Compare and Despair. It's like my kryptonite that if I'm feeling good, I'll go and try to find someone to make myself feel shitty. And then if I'm feeling bad, I'll go and find someone to make myself feel even shittier. Yeah. So I'm
on that thing.
Oh no. He's going to make me reveal a secret. I reveal one every week.
I know. There's a couple more.
Okay. What
just happened?
Oh no. Okay. I don't know what you're talking about. I'm probably blacking it out. Just remind me.
Where you said there's going to be no good from me looking these people up.
Oh yeah. Oh my God. So I still went and did it. I was like having a day, if you're having a day, nothing's going on. Davis is down for a nap. Mark is like reading a book. And I'm like, what can I do right this second other than, so of course I get on social media. I'm responding to people, trying to promote the book and everything. And I was done doing that. And I thought, I should look up these two people that I don't know what they're doing. And then my voice in my head is like, you don't need to know what anybody's doing. Stay in your own lane, lady. Like, who cares? Like, leave it alone. And then I was like, I'm just going to look them up. And then the brain said again, don't do it. Don't look it up. Don't do it. You know what's going to happen. You're going to like go down a rabbit hole of why not me, all that stuff. And I typed it in and I looked it up and I was so upset with myself. I'm like, addict brain. That's what I call like my addict brain. Just took over. And I knew I was literally having a conversation. Don't do it. And then I did it. Mm-hmm. And so I went to Mark and I said, I literally told myself not to do it. And then I ended up doing it. And it's so frustrating when you know something's not good for your spirit and your serenity and your peace. And then you do it anyways.
Yeah. No,
so it's exhausting.
It's exhausting, but it's
exhausting living in here, people.
Yeah. But and for me too. I mean, I think that's what's. It's like it's taking a drink is what it is.
Yes,
me. You know what I mean. It's like well,
that's what you said to me. You just took a drink.
Yeah,
your drink is people, and I use people to make myself either feel great, ego better than, or less than shitty.
Yeah,
yeah.
I always talk about like there's like I always feel like we have these two checklists that we wake up in the morning. One is here are all the things that are going to show that I'm worthy and I deserve. And it's like, there's career stuff, there's love, there's like, all these results, all these things that check off the box that I'm worthy, lovable, going to be, I'm a success, all those things. And this other list is this thing I've had since childhood that I've accumulated that is any one of them will take me down this rabbit hole of I'm unlovable, unworthy, I'm not good enough, never going to get what I want. Mm-hmm. And so in the morning, they're both checklists are there unchecked. And I'm just waiting, it's like every moment of my life, I'm going, there it is. Worthless, unlovable, I shouldn't have done that or, that kind of stuff. And so I'm constantly trying not to do that. And so for a long time to sort of not really, engage in that list of like all these bad stuff, I tried to action out my way and just keep doing a whole bunch of checklist stuff to busy myself to be, you know, and so I became this doer, like do.
So you don't feel those other things.
I can just like avoid looking at that stuff because
instead of looking internally and go, why do I have these feelings?
Yeah.
What do I have to do to like move through them and get them stuck out of my body?
Yeah.
Because that trauma was created so long ago that created those feelings.
Yeah. And here we are. Well, this is why I wanted to sort of do this thing. So here we are a year later.
It's literally a year later.
A year later since we started this.
Yes.
And then it was probably 14 months since you first came up with the idea. I think it was June, right?
Yeah.
And so that was 3 months into the pandemic, the lockdown.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, like the biggest thing for me, I'm this hustler. I'm this guy that's like hustle.
Yes,
you know,
always creating.
Network, create, constantly be doing something, constantly writing something, constantly pitching something, constantly.
It's exhausting, actually, sometimes.
For you or for me?
For both of us, I feel. Especially when you're talking about, I'm like, enough. I don't want to hear about it.
Yeah, I mean, how many times I've had to explain a person that I'm doing.
Oh my God. I'm like, I don't know their names. There's too many people you like work with and stuff.
But when the lockdown hit, you know, the hustle was gone because like there was no, you know, I was checking in with people in a different way, you know, with those people that I had been networking and connecting with. You know, but there was no, like, I couldn't get work because nobody was working. So there was
everything was shut down.
So there wasn't anything to do, and I had to be.
Yeah.
And it was very challenging. And also we realized with our son here that who demanded a lot of attention, that I wasn't present. That a lot of times my busy work, my do constantly on the computer, constantly on the phone.
Yeah.
You know, as the Mark Gantt hustle really separated me from you, separated me from him, separated me from other people, because it was just like, I didn't want to, God forbid, just be alone with my feelings, which is why I act out in all these different ways, why I'm an alcoholic, an addict, and I spend
an eater, a
smoker, you know, gambler, you know, all those things.
A whack-a-mole of addiction over here.
Yeah, exactly. Wait a second. You don't need to
take my inventory, Brianne. But the point is, I feel like what you were trying to say is that this Ben podcast, you had to slow down, and then we just got to be of service.
Yes.
And that is what this podcast has done for me and you. I feel like we are literally of service to other people.
Well, the thing is,
especially because you're not even on the air.
Yeah.
Like you're the behind the scenes guy. Yeah. So you were really of service because it's still my voice, but it's, you know.
Yeah. No, that was, and so I was going to say, is like, it became our whole shift has been literally to the point where when we get down to like, we're so frustrated with like our heads, it's like, we are being of service.
Yeah.
Like that is the most important thing. Like your book is being of service. The podcast is being of service. My coaching is being of service. Like any of those kind of things, I can go back to like, you know, the program, sponsors, sponsees, all that stuff to be of being of service. Like how do we be of service?
Yeah.
And that's what we got out of the pandemic, is to slow down, to be present, to be feeling our feelings.
Yes.
You know, and how do we be of service?
And then we get to like beautifully listen to people, you know, all over the world, reach out to us, tell us there. And we're like, oh, me too, in some way. So I'm so grateful for this podcast. We have 80 episodes already in the book.
Did you check?
I just checked. I went and I just saw how many episodes. And, you know, I did go down that list, like manslut, sexual anorexia, growing up in a cult, a call girl, shopaholics, you know, a lot of affairs ones, a lot of sexual stuff. So I'm excited to this next season because I mean, some of my favorite ones, seriously, because I thought we released them and I was like, oh no, we haven't released that one yet, you know, and I've gotten rid of 3 or 4 episodes. We get rid of people's episodes when they decide they don't want to release them, you know, so I've trashed 4 episodes. We've had some people reach out like they were angry about episodes that triggered them. Yeah. And I'm like, I'm sorry you're triggered, but that's this person's story. And it's just been such a beautiful way to like sit in the truth and the serenity. And like people need to hear these stories, even if they don't relate, there's some empathetic or, you know, a connection in some way that we all get to open up and tell all these things from all walks of life, all ages, all ethnicities, all sexual orientation. And we all underneath our skin and our stories and the things we hold on to, we're all the same. Look at us, we're like breathing. Yeah. So this has given us life. So I just want to wrap up and say thank you to everyone that has been on the show. I mean, we've had 64 episodes. We have 80 already, and I have a couple more, and people reach out all the time. And we are just beyond grateful because your stories have helped us stay centered and learn more about ourselves, but they also have helped, I mean, our listeners like quadruple. I mean, it's been huge.
Yeah. I mean, I would be interested to know, from our listeners, was there any episodes or any things that like really you connected with or had any sort of major effects with you? I know we've already gotten those, a lot of those notes,
messages,
but there's a lot of times I'm hearing from just random, and I'm checking in with somebody that I haven't seen in a while or whatever. There's like I was in the grocery.
I was at Target. Some person's like, "Hey, I love your podcast." So whoever you were, I'm so grateful for you. But thank you so much for everyone who listened. We have many more to come. Like I said, the next year is going to be jam-packed of secrets and letting go of that shame, and hopefully everyone's stepping into their truth and their serenity and their peace and their love. And that's all we can ask for is like, if one person can let go of that baggage and live a better life for themselves, then we've done our job. Right. So
100%.
If you want to be on the show, please email us at secretlifepodcast@icloud.com. Until next time. Thanks again for listening to the show. Please subscribe, rate, share, or send me a note at secretlifepodcast.com. And if you like to check out my book, head over to secretlifenovel.com or Amazon to pick up a copy for yourself or someone you love. Thanks again. See you soon.